everyone. I wanted to hop on here and talk with you about my experience as an awakened child, because I know that there are so many of you as adults that are going to see yourselves in this, okay, and see kind of like where that led us. But also there are so many parents out there that are going to see this in their children. So I think it's really important to talk about, because I just feel like the more progressed we get, you know, it's 2024, my God, the more progressed we get, the more the children that are being born are going to be being born even more higher vibration, more awakened, more gifted. It's like they are going through things that we didn't go through until we were adults, like things like a spiritual awakening, and they're just kids. So it's super important to understand and talk about this. Hello, everybody joining. Hello, let me send some waves out. Happy New Year to you as well. So happy to have y'all here. So yeah, basically I wanted to, oh gosh, hello everybody. Okay, so basically I wanted to talk about this because I think you're going to see yourself in this, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about my experiences that I had as an awakened kid. Some of them were crazy, okay, so get ready. Some of the things that I experienced as a kid, some of the things that I did as a kid are hilarious and crazy. There were also struggles. I want to share that with you as well. And again, look for yourself in these stories. Is this you as a kid? Is this who you were as a kid? Did you also experience this as a kid? And if you're a parent, look at your children and see, oh, wait a minute, they're also having that. Oh, I just thought of one that I didn't write down. Where's my pen? That I really wanted to share. Okay, good. So let's jump right in. And I've got my eye on the chat for questions that are, oh, thank you so much, for questions that are related to the topic. Okay, so let's talk about this, okay? Again, is this you? So as a kid, I had an imaginary friend and her name was Starchild. Like, okay, how perfect is that, right? Hi, babe. My hubby just joined. As a kid, I had an imaginary friend named Starchild. Think about for a sec, as a kid, who were your imaginary friends? Because what it turned, oh, it's 333 here in Massachusetts. What it turned out was that imaginary friend was actually a spirit guide. And of course, I did not find this out until later, until I was an adult. As an adult, I found out that she was a Pleiadian. And I just knew her as a little girl that was a star child, okay? And she showed up and she was always just like a year or two older than me. And she grew up with me. And she also came in riding a white unicorn. Don't know what that was all about, but then it turned out that that was one of my guides too. Yes, unicorns are real. And so this guide was always right there, just a couple years ahead growing up with me, which was so cool. And she was invisible, obviously, as imaginary friends are to everyone else, but very serious to me. And so think about you, or think about your children right now. Do your children talk to you about their imaginary friends? If so, are those imaginary friends giving them guidance, counsel? What kinds of things are they saying to them? Are they protective of them? Are they comforting? Do they heal them? These are all signs that it's a spirit guide. And also the fact that it was a very detailed relationship. Like it wasn't just a one and done. It was like I was talking about her pretty regularly. And she had a name and all of that. And as I got older, she reintroduced herself to me as Amy the Pleiadian, but I just knew her as Starchild. Okay, so that's the first thing. Imaginary friends, like how fun, right? Absolutely. And you know what? I actually saw a couple of fun comments here. Let me just see about imaginary friends before we move on to the next one. I have someone saying, I had one, its name was Wowzers. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's cool, Nadia. I love that. Wowzers, that's so good. Oracle of Avalon wrote a song called Starchild. Like, okay, that's really cool. And probably maybe you were pretty young when you did that. Somebody else had one an imaginary friend called Mr. E because his name was too long and hard to pronounce, and that's what I told my mom. Okay, do you not think that that seems a little strange that your mind would make up a name you couldn't pronounce? it's not. It's a spirit guide, right? Because you would have just called it like Cheetos or something. But like Mr. E, it was probably some like Arcturian crazy Eridanus name that you couldn't say. What? You're not making that up as a kid, right? I just think that that is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. That was Wings on the Ground Prism. Thank you for sharing that. Someone else is saying, my daughter doesn't have an imaginary friend, but she does have a sister. Okay, is the sister real or imaginary? And then we've also got my younger sister had a group of friends. She would like to be their teacher. Oh, I love that. That is so cute. Okay. All right. So that's the first one. The second one, I could feel what other people were feeling. Okay. Like, but very, very much. So I could feel like my parents argued a lot. I could feel it. It was awful. It was so heavy. It was so toxic. It was so sick in my stomach. I could feel what the other kids at school were thinking and feeling. Like a lot of it was maybe negative towards me. I was kind of like bullied a lot and everybody thought I was weird. Hi. I was a weird little kid. And then also, but also nice things too. I could also feel the emotions of strangers that were kind. Like kids are like animals are the same though. Can't they just read people immediately? Like super good judge of character. Like I could read the intentions of somebody. So that's like clairsentience. Clairsentience means clear feeling where you can read energy to the point where you can feel what someone else is feeling. You can feel their emotions, their intentions, and sometimes feel even their thoughts. And I could absolutely do that. And it was the thing is, I had all these gifts as a kid, but I didn't know that they were gifts. Like I didn't know that was rare or different or not what everybody else was also experiencing. So it was really strange to me that the other kids couldn't really like resonate with me or connect with me. Don't be surprised if you saw yourself or are seeing your child now as a bit of a loner. If they're super, super gifted, they are highly sensitive, right? And that is the kind of child that tends to become a bit of a loner. I was all about books, reading my books and playing with my toys. I had the most powerful imagination. I had all of these imaginary worlds that I was playing in at all times. I didn't really, in the end, need the other kids, but I'm just saying like when you can feel what other people are feeling all the time, it's overwhelming and it's also beautiful and it's also all of these things. But as a kid, you don't know how to turn it off. You can't turn it on and then turn it off. It's just overwhelming. And so, when you're around a lot of people, you would get really drained. And school is like a ton of kids packed into one room, right? But also adults. The other thing is, it's not just feeling what other people are feeling. I also had such a powerful connection to animals. Like I could tell you what an animal was thinking. I can still do this with my pets. Like I can tell when they need water. Like, I mean, that's me, maybe is a little more obvious, but like you can tell when they don't feel good, when they need something. Like it's almost like reading their thoughts, but it's not each individual word. It's more of like reading their needs, their intentions, their emotions. It's really powerful. And that is very common in awakened kids. This is very common, that they would be so sensitive that they could read emotions of people and animals. Okay, so let's see if anybody resonated with that, because this is so fun to hear this. So let me just see. The sister is imaginary, but I lost a baby before my daughter was born. Oh my gosh, was the baby a girl? That is so precious. There are so many times where I have had clients that talk to me about a child that dies early on or even a miscarriage. And those souls like always become guides to the family, right? They'll become a healer on your team or they'll become a comforter. I have a child that was from another lifetime that's on my team as an angel. So that's very common. And then your daughter that is here incarnated on earth would be able to perceive of that soul, that spirit. Absolutely. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So that was all about being able to sense other people's feelings, including animals, which is cool. Let's move on. The next one was, and let me know if you experienced this as a kid or if your child experienced this. Okay. Could you hear, I would hear music all the time, right? Like I would just be trying to fall asleep a lot of the time. And then I would hear this music and it kind of sounded far away. And what I found out later was, like, it wasn't actually coming from from my home. Like, it wasn't coming from this dimension. And what I found out later was this is clairaudience, where you can hear beyond your own worlds. Clear hearing is what that means. And I would literally be like a radio antenna that was so long or high that I could tune into other worlds. And I would sometimes hear like murmured conversations, music, all kinds of stuff as a kid, right? And so if you are hearing your child saying anything like this, or if you yourself experienced anything like this, then yeah, it's just really cool. So that's clairaudience. Okay. The next one is kind of a big one too. So I would see and feel guides surrounding me when I sang, which is really weird, but I was such a little singer. Like, I think I walked out of the womb singing. Gross. But I was always singing, right? And so when I would put on a concert in my room, other people would probably put on a concert for like their stuffed animals, you know, singing into the hairbrush. You got the stuffed animals and the dolls watching. Not me. No, sir. I had a whole spirit team watching me, and I could like feel and see them out of the corner of my eye, and they would surround me in a circle, and a lot of them were angels, and they would like clap and like cheer me on and be like just grooving with my songs and my concerts and stuff. And so that's just like probably very specific to me because I was such a little singer, like such a musician. And it's just so sweet to think like that your children's spirit guides are even supporting them in their hobbies. You know what I mean? Like maybe you have an artist or a musician child as well, or someone really creative in your family. And just to know that their guides are like surrounding them with support and being like, yeah, you go paint that picture, you go sing that song. Like, it's just so cute. But like our guides, they love us so much, and they're always watching over us, and they know what we like and what we're into, right? So somebody here saying, Wings on the Ground Prism is saying, yes, I remember feeling sad by my teacher's reaction in 3rd grade when she was scared that I wrote a story in hieroglyphics. I was writing on the chalkboard and she made me sit down. Whoa, what is this now? This is like, okay, that is like channeling. You were literally like channeling some kind of an ancient language. Kids are friggin' magic. And then your teacher was probably shitting her pants. That's so funny. Funny now, not funny to you then. I understand that could have been really like discouraging, right? But oh my God, think back on what your teacher must have been thinking. Especially like us now looking back, like this kind of stuff wasn't talked about. Now, if a kid did that, the teacher might be a little more with it and be like, wow, that's very creative. What does it mean? But back then it was like, sit down. Like, no, we're not having any of this nonsense. Okay. And, I've got someone else, Pink Pixie, saying, I didn't hear music, but I could hear people whispering. Yes, and sometimes it would be my name. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, absolutely, that is clairaudience. So, you know, something really interesting about hearing your name, this can happen as an adult too, though, just to let you know. When you are on your spiritual awakening path, it is very common to hear someone call out your name, your first name, as you're either just falling asleep or as you are waking up, right? So you'll either just be falling asleep or you'll just be waking up and you're in that in-between state. And all of a sudden I would hear Jenny, and it would scare the shit out of me. And I'd be like, what? Who is it? What? And it was like, it was definitely one of my guides. It was actually the same guide. It was Amy, the Pleiadian that I told you about earlier. She was trying to let me know that I'm here, like by calling out your name, your name like that, they're saying, I'm here, I see you, I'm with you. Let's like connect with me, communicate with me. They're trying to encourage communication, because as soon as we start communicating with our guides, our spiritual awakening does go to the next level. Okay, the next one. So we just talked about me putting on a concert for spirit guides versus stuffed animals or pets, which is hilarious. The other thing I mentioned quickly was I had a very strong imagination, like intensely strong imagination. I created worlds upon worlds. There were storylines, backstories, side stories, many characters. I had a very strong role in that world. I was usually some kind of a queen or a princess of some kind. And like, I just had the most powerful imagination. And like I said, I was kind of more of as tends to be with awakened kids, a little bit more of a loner, where I really, really struggled to connect with kids my own age because I was really deep. Like I had a lot of like deep thoughts and I had a lot of interesting experiences, and it was hard for them to relate to that. And I actually remember always feeling like I had to be pretending. Like if I was in a group of kids, I would have to pretend to be into what they were into or think what they thought was cool was cool. Like I was masking, right? I wasn't being my true self with those people. And so I was a lot more at ease on my own because I didn't have to put up a mask. Being inauthentic and putting up a mask as a child or an adult is a very draining exercise. Like it's so difficult. Many adults now are drained by their jobs because of this exact problem. Because when we're at work, we have to be a certain way, especially if you're in like retail or sales or customer service, and you have to like be on all the time. You're always smiling, you're always bubbly. You can't be like that all the time. And so at a certain point, you have to fake it a little bit. And when you're faking it and being inauthentic, you immediately start to drain your life force. And as soon as you drain your life force, you're exhausted. So I was already experiencing that kind of thing as a kid. And again, I want you to understand that awakened kids nowadays are going through this way more than we went through it. They are experiencing this stuff way earlier. They're having adult problems as children, but most of the time, their parents don't know how to help them. They don't know the signs. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to help them. And that's why I started working with children and their families, because this is so, so close to my heart, right? And I want to share something with you. So I had a reading like right before jumping on this by one of my students. I had a reading that where she was telling me that working with kids, and I'm not going to say it as eloquently as she did. She was so good. She said, working with kids creates more of a ripple effect than working with any other kind of group. When you work with children, the ripple effect is insane because you heal not only that child, but you heal your own inner child. You heal that child's parents' inner child. And then every time that child goes and has an interaction with another kid, even if what they say isn't super woo-woo, even if what they say isn't like advanced, they can, just in their kindness, just in their understanding, just in their willingness to let somebody else see them and to share, they open that other child up to new worlds. So working with kids is the biggest ripple effect that you can create in this world. And if you want to see new earth in our lifetimes, this is where we have to start focusing now. It's on the kids, which is so cool. Okay, Shannon Nickel Keys is saying, sorry, that's probably Shannon Nichelle Keys. Yes, it is always having to be quiet and not say what I saw or experienced. I was told it was evil or I was. Okay, so that would be probably a religious family. You're this awakened kid in a religious family. Welcome to my friggin' childhood. It was so hard. I didn't have that in here to talk about because it's like a whole live all on its own, I swear to God. But like being an awakened child in a conventionally strict religious household is probably the worst combination, because then everything that you do, experience, and your gifts, which are a part of you, are now evil, which means that you are evil. It was awful. It was just awful. Okay. And the person that keeps trying to join the video, I'm not having anybody join with me, so you can probably just delete your request. I'm not going to add anybody in. I have too much that I want to share. Okay. Oh, here's another one. Here's a really weird one. Okay. So as a kid, I was sleepwalking and having conversations with beings during that time. So this I don't really remember as well as my mom does. This was like something that really freaked my mom out. But it definitely didn't feel like negative, right? Like it felt like quite a beautiful thing. But it's pretty funny to think about now how much that would have freaked out my mom. So imagine me, I was probably all of like maybe 6 years old. And in the middle of the night, I decide to get up and walk down from, I was like, my bedroom was in the upstairs, walk down the stairs in the middle of the dark. and then go sit in the living room, pitch black. I'm just sitting in the middle of a dark, big living room, and I'm sitting on the couch, my mom says, with my legs crossed like an adult, you know, like one leg over the other, like a little lady. And I'm looking at the chair, like there was like a, you know, a big sofa chair, kitty corner to the couch. So here I am sitting, legs crossed, like looking over at the chair, having this full discussion. And I'm talking, my hands are gesturing, and I'm nodding, and we're having a whole discussion in the middle of the night in the living room. And my mom comes in and she sees this. How would you have reacted? How would you have reacted as a parent? Probably friggin' freaked out. Like we've had too much fear frequency inserted into us by horror films that we think that that's terrifying. It wasn't a bad thing. It's a weird thing for sure. I said I was a weird little kid. And my mom, I remember her just like waking me up very gently and being like, sweetie, like, Jenny, did you know you're in the living room right now? And I kind of like look around, and then she's like, I think it's time to go back to bed. And I think I said something like, I was talking with my friend. And she's like, okay, maybe we leave that for tomorrow. And she's looking over her shoulder. She takes me back to bed, like freaked her right out. Someone here is saying, my daughter laughs and talks in her sleep all the time. I just think that's so cute. I just think that's so cute. Anyway, it wasn't a negative thing. It was just a let's freak our mom out thing. So funny. Love you, Mom. Here's a huge thing, and you really need to believe your kids when they tell you stuff like this, okay? I saw an angel. I fully saw it, okay? This was like the thing that I remember still so clearly today. I have a whole video about it because it's such a clear experience for me. I saw an angel at about 12 years old, and we were at my grandmother's house, and we were attending a funeral, which was sad because my uncle had passed, so my grandmother's son and my mom's brother. And we were at my grandmother's house, and we were in like a spare room, but it felt like more like in the basement. It was interesting. And there was like two beds beside each other, two really small little beds beside each other. And my mom was in one and I was in the other. It was just me and her for some reason. And in the middle of the night, there was this really bright light. It was so bright it woke me up. And I sat up in my bed and I looked down, and at the foot of the bed, my mom's bed, not mine, at the foot of her bed, there was this angel. And it was so bright you could almost not fully look at it. And it had the full like white robes, and there was wings. And I feel now like that was my mom's brother that had passed saying goodbye, right? Because it was like there was nothing else it could be. It was an angel. And I didn't know a lot about angels, and I knew that's what it was as a kid. And I did not wake her up. I felt like I shouldn't. I remember just like pulling the covers, like so funny as a kid, the things we do. I remember seeing it and knowing that it knew I saw it, but it was looking at my mom. It didn't even look over at me. I just could tell that it knew. And I remember being like, okay. And then I just covered myself back up with the covers and went back to bed. And then I told her in the morning, and she had some questions for me. She said, did you get a good feeling or a bad feeling? And what did it look like? And I think that she believed me that time, because I was like, Mom, I swear to God. And I wasn't little, right? I was 12. So she believed me that time. Okay, I've got another comment here. Me too. My parents had to walk me back to bed. Yes, this is from the sleepwalking. The funniest one was asking my parents if we needed bread because the man was outside like a street vendor. Oh my God, that is so funny. He was like just selling his wares in the street. You were gonna buy his bread. I love it. Shannon Nichelle Keys says, my 10-year-old son has been seeing spirits since he was 3 in their death state. It took years for me to get him to sleep and not be scared. Yes. Oh my gosh. I want to talk about the struggles too. These are some of the fun things, but I do want to talk about the struggles. Okay. And then Pink Pixie saying, my sister passed away and my dad was really ill and I was so worried about him. And I felt my sister's arms wrapped around me. Oh, that is so sweet. Like she was there with you in that really hard moment, right? Beautiful. Okay. All right. Some of these are so funny, aren't they? And then the last one was, excuse me, I could fly as a kid. I swear to God, I could fly. And I made a reel about this and it went off. Everybody was like really resonating with the fact that I believe this as a kid. And it's funny because I knew I shouldn't tell any adults. I knew that this was like a secret, right? I knew that It was just for me, but I knew that it was real. And I have very vivid memories, even to today, of me like flying down the staircase in my house. And then I would, at nighttime, I would fly out my window and I went to my school. I saw it so clearly. These are ones, like I said, that I can see all the details still. You know, it's really, really more than a dream or imagination when you can remember all the details so clearly. I flew to my school and I was like in the girls' bathroom for some reason. And I was looking down over the stalls. Like I was flying over the stalls and looking down at the toilets and stuff. And it was like in the middle of the night, so nobody was there. But that's for some reason something that I just remember really clearly. Now, again, these are things that when you become an adult, you understand so much more clearly, right? I understand that that is astral travel. But that to me, it didn't feel any different than my own physical body, right? Our souls travel when we're kids, even when we're adults. Most nights, they travel. Our bodies need rest, our souls don't. And our souls go and have all these adventures. But as a kid, I didn't correlate that it was different than my physical form. So I assumed I could fly, right? I was 1000% sure of it, and I told no one. But it was my secret that I had. So I just think that that's like also like a really funny awakened kids thing. I also tended to have recurring dreams a lot as a kid. Some of them were really difficult. They were past lives. I was a soldier, a boy soldier, and I was killed. I had that dream every night for the whole summer of grade 1. And I'd have like different reoccurring dreams like that. That's another sign of an awakened kid. Like their past lives are starting to come through. They are like traveling, timeline traveling and all kinds of things, having these experiences. And one of the biggest things too, like I think signs of awakened kids would be like, I knew that I had a mission. Like I knew, like even as a little girl, I remember being like, I'm here to change the world. And like all the adults you can imagine that their requests would be like, oh, that's so cute. You're so sweet. And I was like, no, like you guys, I'm serious. I'm here to change the world. Like I'm here to help people and I'm going to do that. And I didn't know how exactly I was going to do that. I just had a mission. And that is definitely a sign of an awakened kid. You just know you have a mission. You're here to, build a new world basically. And that's what I was going to do. Estevan Unisol saying, my sister used to levitate when she was younger. Wow, that's crazy. And once my mom saw her do it, that is insane. She never did it again. Something like freaked her out about that. Maybe your mom's reaction. My other sister also used to see spirits and dead people since she was a little girl and still. Yep, me too. I feel like if your mom had a big reaction to seeing your sister levitate, that might have the programming starts to sink in. Kids are so open and so gifted where they're like bright little lights with no boundaries, which can lead to a lot of struggles, which we're going to talk about next. But there's none of that programming to say you can't do that. You have to abide by the laws of this simulation, 3D Earth simulation. There is gravity. There is this. There is that. You must get a job. They don't have all that programming. So they are like magical. And then the programming starts to seep in over the years, especially school is all just like inserting programming into your children. And then they kind of lose touch with a lot of that, right? All right. And someone else, Pink Pixie, saying, I used to feel like I was being pulled every direction as I was falling asleep. Wow. That could definitely be astral travel, but that could also be something in the room with you. It really depends on the house if there's a spirit in the house. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat that could definitely be like an earthbound spirit, which is what some people refer to as ghosts. Okay, let's talk about some of those struggles though, right? So some of the struggles of being an awakened kid was I was harassed by lower energies. I'm just going to say lower energies because there was more than that. It was earthbound spirits. It was lower entities and beings, whatever you want to call that. There's a difference between ghosts and dark entities. Like there is a bit of a difference there. But when you are this bright light of this awakened kid and you don't have any way to protect yourself, you don't have the know-how to protect yourself, and you don't have any kind of energetic hygiene. You just don't understand anything. You are just like this open like punching bag for spirit, and it's really, really difficult. So I would say that I was harassed like bothered all the time. In fact, not just in my own home, I did happen to grow up in a haunted house. We lived right in front of a graveyard, and my dad found out that he used to ride motorcycles, and my dad rolled his motorcycle onto the lawn to wash his motorcycle, and the lawn collapsed in the perfect shape of a coffin. And then there were like chains under the ground, and we found out that it was like a pulley system. And they did not tell my parents this before they bought the house, of course. It was a pulley system to pull coffins up the hill to the graveyard. And it turned out that our house, which they told us way long ago was a doctor's office, was not just a doctor's office, that there was a room where they kept the dead people, and they called it the mourning room. So yeah, the house was haunted, okay? So being an awakened kid in a haunted house in a very strict religious family, wow, I couldn't have. My soul contracts, what was I doing to myself? But it's really important to understand that we're not victims, and that we do choose all of these situations in our early childhood. Many, many, many starseeds choose very difficult childhoods to guarantee an awakening, because we learn through contrast. And I had so much rock bottom at such an early age that it forced me to become a seeker. And that is what helped me to ensure my awakening, right? Okay, so let's talk about these struggles. So I was harassed by lower energies such as noise and I want you to believe your children if you're parents, okay? Please believe your kids. If your children are saying that there is something in their room at night, please believe them, okay? Because I was experiencing noise in my rooms at night, like scratching on the walls, belching, like loud burping sounds. I know that sounds weird, but that was the way that the ghost was trying to bother me. Tapping, my bed vibrating. If you ever had a bed that vibrated when you were a kid or now as an adult, clear that space with sage and light and Archangel Michael. I would also see, so the noises in my room at night, I would see shadows in my room at night. And a lot of the time, you guys, if you're seeing something clairvoyantly, you're actually seeing it out of the peripheral, which means the side of your eye. So the side of your eye is a lot more sensitive than the way that you look directly forward. So that's why sometimes you'll see something move out of the corner of your eye and then you turn and look and it's not there. It's not that it's not there. It's that you turned and look with the less sensitive part of your eye. Turn and look this way again and try to actually look out of this part of your eye and it will be there again, right? So, but again, children are just so sensitive to this stuff. So shadows, some kids will tell you they see a shadow man. A lot of the time it's standing at the edge of the foot of their bed or shadows in the corners. But one of the biggest telltales is when children say that they feel like they're being watched. That's huge, okay? There's a lot that's going into that. That is clairsentience. They are picking up on another being's personality in the room with them, with intentions, with emotion, and it's observing them. And they know that it's there observing them. So that's a whole host of gifts that they would even need to use to be able to perceive of that spirit observing them. But it's really important that we believe them, okay? So noises at night, shadows, being watched, feeling dizzy in certain rooms in the home. If your home is haunted, if there's a particularly bad spot, there's always one spot where the energy is concentrated. You'll feel dizzy, nauseous in that room. Or having intrusive thoughts. Having intrusive thoughts is another big sign that your child, or that you as a child, were being kind of psychically attacked. When you would have intrusive thoughts that you knew you would not think like that, either violent or inappropriate or whatever it was, and you know as a kid that's not yours, right? Also, I experienced a ton of night terrors. Night terrors are like nightmares to the next degree, where you are being psychically attacked and it escalates and you wake up screaming and you can't feel safe in your own skin or in your own home. And like this escalated so much. I remember waking up and like being so afraid, too afraid to even get out of bed to ask for help. And then the times when I could creep out of my bed and run down the stairs, and you feel like you're being chased the whole time too. Run down the stairs to knock on my parents' door to ask for help. They would tell me, go away. I remember I was crying really hard one time, so my mom answered the door and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "There's something under my bed." And my bed was vibrating, and I knew that there was something dark under there. And they come up, turn on the lights, and look, and because they don't see it with their physical eyes, they don't understand, right? So important to help parents to connect and help their children in this way. And that, again, is why I'm working with children so much now. And it's just so important, because you can't just help the kid, you have to help the parents too, right? Okay, so yeah, night terrors, psychic attacks, all of this escalated. This was going on all the time for me, every night for me. And no one knew how to help. And a lot of the time it becomes a misdiagnosis of anxiety disorder or this or that. And it's like, no, it's not the child's fault, right? I've got a comment here saying, my daughter used to have terrible night terrors and I used to wake up crying and I'd be scared but never knew why I was scared. Yeah, exactly. You know something bad is going on, but you don't know what that thing is. So, okay. So then the next thing was also, oh, this is such an interesting one. You would not think of this, okay? You wouldn't think, oh yeah, awaken kids, and then think this would be one of their problems. And yet, when I talk about this, like, so many parents say to me, oh my God, that's my kid, or they say that was me as a kid. Digestive issues, not being able to digest food. So basically being completely so overwhelmed by earth, and the food here is not, it's very dense, right? And to have a very highly sensitive child, they are going to struggle to digest food. And that was one of my biggest problems as a kid. I could not digest food. I had all of these allergies. I was allergic to grass and wood and dust. I was allergic to everything. I had every digestive problem, every food sensitivity. I had skin problems. I think I had eczema and maybe something else. If this was you, or if you have a child, this is a highly sensitive child, okay? Highly sensitive means sensitive in every way. Emotionally sensitive, physically sensitive, skin is sensitive, digestive system is sensitive, autoimmune disorders, like they're so sensitive to noise, sensitive to like energy, emotion, physical, food, everything. But highly sensitive equals gifted, in like capital letters, gifted, okay? And the reason why is because I was that kid, and now my extreme sensitivity helps me to perceive of the subtleties around me. That's why I'm such a powerful channeler. I can pick up on the most subtle clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, channeled messages, spirit. I can really truly connect with like any kind of spirit guide, describe it, get its name, get its message for you. Like, people are blown away, and it's because I'm that sensitive. So when they tell you being sensitive is a gift, and we all roll our eyes like, yeah, I wish I wasn't. It is a gift. It is absolutely a gift. Okay. So your super, super sensitive child is super, super gifted. Okay. And I just want to say though, like, this is, oh, sorry, I'm just reading a comment here. I had to run as fast as possible up the stairs to avoid my ankles being caught. We moved a lot, and this only happened in one house. Ooh, yeah, that is a haunted house. No, thank you. And children that are so sensitive really struggle with that kind of stuff. So again, I want you to believe your kids when they tell you this stuff is going on. You want to believe them. You want to help them. If you don't know how, come and work with me. That's what I'm literally doing now, is to help parents connect with their children in this way and help their children in this way. If not, what happens is what happened to me. I ended up lonely, alone, bullied, and suicidal at the age of 13. Like 13, that's so young. And not to mention just that, but I also lost years of potential where I could have been, if I had if I had a parent that understood what they were seeing with these gifts, I could have been really like the potential of me honing in my gifts at that young of an age would have been like a friggin' spiritual prodigy. But that's what kids have the ability to be now. And I want you to know that our children, this age of children and the ones being born now, they are literally the new earth that we've been waiting for. It's them. as they grow up, that's what it's going to be. So if you want to see New Earth happen in your lifetime, we need to support the children now. And like I said at the beginning of this video, like supporting children is the biggest ripple effect that you will ever see out of all the groups of people that you could work with. When you help children, you heal children and you strengthen children and you teach them that they are unique and special and how to use their gifts. You heal yourself. You heal your own inner child. You heal their parents' inner childs. They heal other kids. It's like this huge ripple effect. So the things that we should be teaching our children, and why is this not taught in schools, is how to protect themselves, right? How to protect their own energy because of those things that we've been talking about, like the night terrors and the psychic attacks, and the fact that they are like a buffet of light if they don't know how to protect themselves. If they don't know how to put up boundaries, energetic boundaries, strengthen their aura, then they're just always going to be fed off of and bothered. And it's really, that's the number one thing to teach them, right? How to protect themselves. Teach them about things like energy, vibration, manifestation. Like, can you imagine if as a kid you were taught that you are the sovereign creator of your own reality and that what you are thinking and feeling creates your tomorrow? What? Like, and if you're a parent and you're not teaching your children this now, this is a huge missed opportunity. This is how we create New Earth citizens. This is where New Earth is going to come from, as these children. So super, super important. Protection, energy, vibration, manifestation, and then also, of course, how to use their gifts, right? So you're gonna, by working with your children in this way, and I want you to know that all of these things are exactly what I'm teaching children inside of my Awakened Kids membership. It's a beautiful membership for awakened kids and their parents, because mom and dad need to know this too. It's just gotten started this month. It's brand new in January. You know, this kind of work is going to strengthen the bond between you and your child and also enlighten the whole family. If you start teaching your kid how to, the workshop that we did an Awakened Kids workshop. And if anybody wants to replay, please just DM me, it's free. What I taught the kids in that workshop was how to find the light within. Everybody has a light within. It's in your high heart. How to find the light within, how to make it grow until it surrounded their whole body, and then how to change the color of it depending on what they needed. Green is for healing, pink is for love, white is for protection. Very simple, but this is real psychic training, okay? But you can teach it to them in an appropriate way that works for children. And then guess what we did? I taught them how to make it so big that it surrounded the whole earth. We gave the entire earth a dose of love, and it was so beautiful. And let me just tell you, that is what advanced grid workers do. They just look at a map and they pick the country and they send these colors and these light rays to it. And we can teach children to do that. And it's so beautiful. Shannon Nichelle Keys is saying, I do activities with my 10-year-old son to help his clairs. He is amazing. That is so beautiful. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So I plan on, so that was the workshop that we did inside this Awaken Kids membership. I've already got the first couple of events scheduled. The first one is going to be how to create an awesome day. And you know that's going to be about manifestation. The next one is going to be how to communicate with your pets and other animals, really practicing clairsentience, telepathy. And then we're going to do some fun group readings where I let the kids ask any questions that they have and I channel the answers. They can ask about their guides, themselves, anything. It's going to be super fun. And I have a whole roster of a curriculum written out for them to teach them. Like I said, this is real psychic training, but it's soft, it's sensitive, and it's fun for children. And I think that it's really important to understand that children have a certain attention span. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually making inside the Awakened Kids membership, I'm making the first 20, maybe 30 minutes all about the kids, and then I switch it over to the parents. I'm like, okay, you can let the kids go, and they go play in the background, and then the parents get a chance to really connect with me and ask their questions, and it's been so, so powerful. So we're also going to be talking inside this membership, I'm going to be teaching them how to activate their healing superpower, how to talk to angels, how to have an awesome day, which I talked about, and meet your fairy spirit guide, we're just going to be doing so much, and it's going to be so super fun. So I just wanted to share with you that this is a brand new membership. I know I talk about my membership a lot. That's the adult one. It's called Starseed Academy membership. But the one that's for children and parents is called the Awaken Kids membership. And right now, if you join before the end of the week, Friday, you get 2 months free. So it's going to be like, it's just a huge celebration because it's brand new launch, and I'm welcoming in people with this incredible deal of 2 months free when you sign up. And so what's included in the Awaken Kids membership? It's 2 classes every month from the curriculum. So I'll be covering topics that I think are important from the curriculum, like the protection, energy, vibration, manifestation, how to use their gifts, all the different clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. We might even do some channeling. We might even do some light language. They're not too young as long as you teach it in a way that they can understand and you don't make the lesson too long. It can be done. And you'll see if you were at the workshop and you've gotten the replay, watch it. The kids loved it. They loved it so much. And I got a lot of messages from parents saying that their kids were doing the exact exercises that night, which was so cool. So we're going to be doing 2 of these like classes where parents and children are both welcome every month. We're also going to have a youth chat. So this is a chat just for kids to connect with each other. I want you to know that awakened souls are not all in the same city. We're spread out for a reason, right? We're all spread out because it's important for us to be influencing the collective of humanity. So when people talk about things like starseed loneliness, that's a very real thing. It's because we're all spread out, right? They don't clump us together because we're needed in so many places. So we're spread out and it can be hard. But having this online community for the kids to connect with each other is going to make such a difference. So a youth chat, which is a 24/7 online chat where kids can connect, they can talk about the dreams that they're having, they can talk about sharing stories together, asking questions, and it's a space just for them. Of course, the parents are welcome to observe the chat quietly, but just to make sure that they're comfortable, but it's just for the kids. And then we have the parent chat. So this is for the aunties and the uncles and the parents and the step parents and the guardians. This is the adult conversation that needs to happen, where you can get support from other parents, ask questions, get advice, you know, parents that have gone through what you're going through with your kid and real advice about what worked and what didn't. It's like so needed, right? This community is so needed. And then there's 2 huge resource centers, okay? So the resource center, obviously there'll be one for the kids and one for the parents. Now the parents resource center is like a huge bonus because you're getting the whole Starseed Academy resource center, which is like 200 plus videos of master classes, psychic training, all kinds of stuff for adults or teens. And then in the kids one, we're going to have those shorter, smaller lessons for the younger kids about how to use their gifts, how to protect themselves, how to understand things like telepathy, how to understand manifestation. So 2 huge resource centers, 2 chat areas, and then we all come together twice a month inside this membership to have our classes together where we're teaching. And the kids love it. The last one, there was the cutest little girl, and she just kept waving to all the other kids, and it's like on Zoom, so she's just waving the whole time. It was so precious. Anyway, I really, really want to just drill home the point that if you sign up before the end of the week with your kids, it is 2 months for free when you sign up for the package. And also, it's only 1 sign up per household, right? So you only have to just sign up for, you don't have to sign up for you and your, you know, it's just one, so 1 payment for the whole household. And there's no contracts, there's, you know, cancel any time, none of that stuff. And I really know that if you give this a shot with your children, you're going to see a huge difference in your family. Your household is going to be more positive and high vibrational. Your children are going to start coming to and sharing things with you that they didn't think to tell you before. Like all that stuff I was going through as a kid, I didn't even tell my parents. I don't know what it is about kids, but we keep so much to ourselves and we suffer in silence. Imagine your child realizing that these were things that was important to talk about and then coming to you and saying, you know what, this kid is bullying me at school, or you know what, I keep seeing this color in the room, or you know what, at night I don't feel comfortable, or you know what, I feel sick when I eat this certain food all the time. I don't want to eat that anymore. I want to try this instead. It's like they're tapping into their own intuition. They're feeling like you are a safe place to share all of that with. And then they also start to see you as not just the parent. They start to realize like that you're there not to just tell them what to do, but to truly support them in this. I want you to know that as an adult, your spiritual awakening was never just about you if you have children. It was always meant to include your children. Your spiritual awakening was always meant to include your children, to bring them with you gently, to support them, and to understand that they will blow you away with their gifts, their wisdom. It's so beautiful. And this is so close to my heart, and it is so important to me to support children and parents in this way. And so you can DM me you can DM me Awakened Kids, and I will send you all of the information. If you want to join before the end of the week to get your 2 months free. If you want to see what it's like and see if your kids like it, I'll send you the free workshop that we did, and they can try it for free. And I also have this list of questions that it's a fun list. I also have this list of questions that you can ask your kid if you're like, is this for my kid or not? It will kind of give you an idea of where their gifts are and everything like that. So you would probably really enjoy that as well. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to invite you into my DMs. Message me if you would like to join the Awakened Kids membership. It is in my link in bio. If you like to just go and do things on your own, please feel free to go check out all the details. But it's such a huge value. It's on such an incredible offer right now with 2 months free. So okay, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And again, you can ask me for the free workshop if you want to try it with your kids. You can ask me for the information about the membership. You can ask me questions. I'm there. I'm in the DMs. Come over there and let me know what you need, and I would be happy to support you. But thank you so much for hanging out, and I'm going to head off of this, and I'll talk to you all really soon. Bye, everyone.